Alright guys, so here is the Mishimoto sandwich plate. I'll put a link down in the description for this. I don't know if it technically says that this fits this car or not, but it does. So I'm gonna tighten this guy down to about 20 foot-pounds, 17 foot-pounds, I think is what Corksport recommends on the Mazda Speed 3 version of this, which does not fit this car. And then we're gonna tighten these down. These are my oil temp and oil pressure sensor, and put some Teflon tape on it so that it doesn't leak. And these, again, very gentle because the threads are made of aluminum. Since the sandwich plate's made of aluminum, so we really don't want it to over tighten these, but no more than 10 foot-pounds should be good for these guys. And with Teflon tape, we shouldn't get any leaks. Another quick note, when you're tightening down that main bolt that holds sandwich plate in, make sure that you only tighten it to about 17 foot-pounds and that you use some red thread locker so that it stays in place when you're unscrewing your oil filter. Current plan right now is to run the wires through the passenger footwell, maybe just under the glove box or just behind the glove box. From there down to here, zip tie onto these lines here, and then plug them into the back of our sensors here and here. And then I'll run some high temp conduit so that it's not right next to the exhaust, but see how that turns out. All right, so here I got this gauge pod and it sits inside of an AC vent. And that's gonna go right there. I've popped this guy off. This is the panel with the traction control button. This guy pops off. Just pry it off with a trim removal tool. And pretty straightforward. Also took off the panel for the fuse box because that's what we're gonna run power to this from. It's right here, so everything's pretty conveniently placed here. And I'm gonna drill a hole through the bottom of this, trying not to hit any wires down here. And then we can run these wires through and then start wiring it up and see if it powers on. All right, so now we want to wire this guy in. So what we're going to do is we're going to have black going to ground, which I got tied to this nut right now. For now, I don't have anything on it, but eventually I'm going to have a ring terminal on that. We got these fuse taps here going to a 15 amp circuit, and this circuit is for the cigarette lighter. And the reason I'm using a cigarette lighter for our power is because it switches on and off, so this won't drain our battery. And that's what they call for in the manual. So if we turn this guy on, you'll see comes on when the ignition's on and turns off when the ignition's off. So that works for our purposes. All right, so now looking for a place to tap into for the dimmer circuit. I was gonna use the light for the glove box originally, which I just took out, but I just remembered that I have an aftermarket head unit here. So I decided I was gonna tap into this orange and white wire, which is actually the signal for the dimmer for the Pioneer head unit. So I'll tap into that and hopefully we'll have our dimmer signal in. So here we got an unused dimmer circuit coming out of my steering wheel controller for the head unit. 0 volts right now. Flip the headlights on and then we get about 12 volts, which is perfect. So we'll hook that up to our white wire and hopefully then we get a dimmer circuit going to our gauge. I'll turn the lights on. See the gauge dimming. So looks like we did good. All right. Now after peeling back the carpeting, I found what looks like a promising spot for me to drill. Just feel like anything's in the way here. I'll take the bottom, make sure it looks clear, and then we can go ahead and drill that guy out and then get our wires coming through here. All right, so kind of hard to see. I've got a hole drilled up there. Got a couple of grommets here. I'll put the wires through these and I'll put a couple holes for each of the wires and we'll continue from there. All right, so just threw the oil filter on. Gonna have to be careful because it's hanging quite a bit lower now with the sandwich plate. Got my sensors wired up and topped it off with some oil. So start it up and see if we get pressure readings. So we got oil pressure. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap everything back up here and call it a day.